I must admit, I am honored you came all the way down here to visit me.
Okay, so I think it's best to say that Bendy and the Ink Machine is not a horror game in the traditional sense. You're not going to get scared to the point where you'll turn off your game at any portion of this 2-hour runtime. However, that is not to say that the game does not create an eerie environment, especially as the story develops. Unfortunately, the game never really capitalizes on the world that it creates, and several components of the game work against it. That is not to say it's a bad game. In fact, I liked it a lot. However, I liked it for several different reasons than I expected to going in. Bendy and the Ink Machine will have you, Henry, revisit a rundown studio of Joey Drew, where you and your former colleagues used to work. Across 5 chapters, you will uncover both how the studio fell apart and the different beings that still inhabit it. The focus is not so much on the gameplay as it is finding audio logs spread across the world with fully voiced characters explaining their role and their falling out. Between major segments, you'll have to solve several puzzles, each having some major focus on the studio and the dynamics explained in surrounding logs. As you descend lower into the studio, you'll find several characters that will attempt to aid you or stop you from making it out. The game has some great world building. The audio logs do a good job at conveying the emotion that the person felt while voicing them. There were not too many that I heard that caused me to feel like they were out of place. The dynamics between the previous work staff can easily be envisioned and consist of your standard backstabbings. As you've seen, the graphics of the game are great and really fit with the theme of an old-timey aesthetics. Also, the deliberateness of movement also works in favor of the game, with you feeling every step that you take. All is not well in the world of Bendy, and let me tell you that the actual gameplay is where I have most of the issues. There simply isn't enough to do. The early parts of the game do feel a little bit more organic and set up the rest of the game, but very quickly make you feel like you're going from one fetch quest to another. There's an entire section of the game that explicitly feels like a series of fetch quests, and there's not much to the combat, and it honestly feels very slapped on. To add insult to injury, you're never going to find yourself needing to be careful in any way. This is because there's little in terms of consequence to dying. Once I found this out, I would often run headfirst into encounters and try to outrun the enemies rather than sneak around them. Lastly, that very action of sneaking does not feel well executed. It was often too slow to get the reward, and I never really felt any tension because I couldn't get caught in any way, even after the enemy clearly saw me enter the lockers. Overall, Bendy and the Ink Machine has its quirks. As a game, it has a lot missing, and I do not feel like it hits the highs that it clearly has the opportunity of doing so. However, it clearly kept me hooked, slogging through the tedious fetch quests so that I can see and hear more about how the studio fell apart. That is where the game truly shines, and it is because of that that I could recommend it. If you are someone who exclusively focuses on gameplay, maybe skip out on this title. But if you want to hear an interesting story and find yourself with a couple of chill hours to lose yourself in Joey Drew's studio, I would suggest giving it a go. It's $6.99 on both Android and iOS, but you can often find it discounted as low as 99 cents. If you have any recommendations for me to review, leave it in the comments section below. Otherwise, stay tuned in to Gaming in the Moment.